Hey, thank you, sir. You can do this. Sorry, can you do it? Yeah?
Sure.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
That's my spar, brother. That's not a spar. I didn't realize it's 1 hour and 30 minutes drive. So I got myself a flotation device. If I sink, it will help me surface. So good afternoon one more time, and I realize not everyone here is a Toastmaster, correct?
Yes.
Some look like teachers and principals of LaSalle. Am I right? This whole table over here,
Yes.
my daughter goes to LaSalle, all right? So clap for me. It's a good school. I'm proud to send my daughter to LaSalle. And not Toastmasters. Welcome to this club. Okay, I really have no idea how to do the same inspiration as Dinah, because Dinah is a really tough act to follow. And I don't know what to say or do. So I'll stand quietly for a minute and pray, if that's okay. But in the meanwhile, while I'm praying, I'd like to find out what is it that you have enjoyed and learned and been impacted with throughout the whole day. Is there something that stood out for teachers, Toastmasters, and non-Toastmasters? Something that was special for you, so at least I know where I'm starting from. The whole day, it's been a busy day, isn't it?
Yes.
So what stood out besides, for me, I heard Albert Einstein. Man should not strive for success, but man should try to be a man of value. Very powerful. I love that. But for you, mga kaibigan, mga kababayan, mga Filipino, what stood out for you? Mga Toastmasters, mga teachers. They don't know. It's a good audience. Well, you know, let's do the usual start. The usual start is that introduction was way too long. Next time, just one line should be okay. I shouldn't be writing out stuff with pictures on it. It kind of is embarrassing to come here and see your picture up there. So I'm a little shy of limelight. So let's turn this around. What I thought, first thing when Louisa, is it Louisa? Yes. Louisa said, come and talk. So she didn't tell me what to talk about. So I said, fine, we'll talk about anything. And that I like. So I sent her a title, Unleashing Inherent Excellence. Then when I got a program, it said, Power of Communication. So I said, change it to Unleashing Speaking Excellence. Now I'm thinking, there is hardly any difference between the two. Would you agree? I was thinking, excellence is a striving, it's a desire, it's a wish, yeah? It's a place far away from you. But yet, when I call it inherent, that means a place far away from you, your dream exists within you. Am I right? So, whatever you hope to be, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to achieve, if you have been able to see it in your mind's eye, if it has throb or beat in your heart, then it lives inside you and it has to be manifested outside of you. And you are the only person who can do that. Speaking is an expression of that dream. It gives it a certain form. Agree? Now, I struggle and strive for the same thing. And I don't think my struggle and striving and yearning will ever end. I'm gonna leave this world just like Mr. Brooks Loomis did. On my feet, on my horse, with my sword in my hand or with my mic in my hand, because that's how he passed away. Right in front of me on TV. So that's what I'm gonna strive for. But let me tell you some of the experiences I've had getting to this point, understanding that excellence is a struggle. Yeah? It's effort, it's a lifelong effort, it's a lifelong striving. I will share with you three stories, three experiences of my life as a speaker. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah? And I really don't have super powerful PowerPoints. So I'll let you decide what the message at the end of the story will be, because some of you are Toastmasters, so you do know that every story has a message. Either it's implicit or it's explicit. But let's make it explicit if it's not understood quickly. My first very embarrassing story with Toastmasters was about 10 years ago. You're a Toastmaster, I know. Yeah, of course you are. 10 years ago at a contest. And till today I wonder why people contest, but we'll talk about it. I do have a sort of an answer. I was up on stage. It was an area contest, or maybe a division contest, I don't remember. Dinah was in the audience, and so was her loving, big, beautiful white husband, my mentor, Brooks Loomis, who of course left this world as if he left it from my arms. So it's a very tough, traumatic experience for me too. I haven't overgrown it in the last 3 years, and it just came back when you brought it up. So Brooks was in the audience, and there was Carol, Carrion. I don't know if the current government of Toastmasters, District Governor JJ was there, but several of my friends were there. And I was up there on a little raised stage, and I was doing my speech. And the year before that, or the contest season before that, I won the area contest at all 3 levels. Prepared, humorous, table topics, everything. I won the division at 2 levels. And I was a proud speaker. The mighty, invincible speaker up on stage. And here's what happened to me. Right in the middle of my speech, when the thought got to me that I am, quote unquote, freaking invincible, I got cold feet. Right in the middle of the speech, when I saw my audience drop their jaws in amazement at my style, suddenly I had cold feet. And my cold feet warmed up. As it rose up my physiology, it got to my mouth and dried my mouth up so much out of fear that I could not open my mouth. Dinah Loomis went running to the tools room, picked out a plier and a screwdriver, and she came and hammered my mouth open. I'm kidding. I had to pry my mouth open, get myself a glass of water, right in the middle of the contest. It was the most humiliating moment. And I began to wonder, why does this happen? Why do people get cold feet? Why are we afraid? What causes us to go into such a panic mode inside? I thought about it a very long time. In fact, I studied. I wanted to go to a psychiatrist. I couldn't afford one, I didn't know one, I don't know where to find them still, thankfully. No? But a lot of it was reflection. And today, years later, I think the reason, maybe I don't just think, I believe that the reason we get cold feet, the reason we are afraid, the reason we go into panic is because the image we try to project outside of us is not the image that is inside of us. We call it now lack of congruence, outside and inside. That means the excellence that you believe inside of you is not the one you're projecting. You're putting on a facade of a great speaker. When you realize that, the warmth from your brains goes down and freezes your feet, so to say. No? So that was my first experience, and I swear to you, I don't want to go through that experience again. So, it was not practice and preparation that is important to do away with that fear. It was purification. Trust me, it is purification. And it's not an easy journey. Because then you begin to learn to watch yourself at every moment. What are you doing, Raju? What are you saying? What are you putting across? Is it true? Does it have value? Will it create something positive and constructive outside of you? Is this really you, Raju? And it's a huge struggle, guys. It's a massive struggle. And Toastmasters, I must tell you, is the place, is the ground where you can do that reflection. That's step one. That's my story one. And it's fact. So Dinah is nodding. She was there. Did you bring the screwdriver and the stuff? Yeah, you did. That was one. Post that, stubborn of me, hard-headed that I am as an Indian, hard Filipino, I went on. I said, I'm not going to give up. You're a teacher?
No.
Any teachers here?
Oh, yeah.
Teacher? Yeah. So my second experience was with teachers. In the year 2005, I had finished writing my first book, The Heart of Public Speaking. And I had given up my own profession, my own business. I had moved into this. One, because it was purifying me. Two, I loved it. Three, I was passionate and I enjoyed the limelight. So I'll turn this upside down because I do enjoy the limelight. Sometimes when I lose my shyness, I was looking for work. I would take up any kind of work. You call me to a barangay meeting to talk, I will talk. You bring me to church, even though I'm not such a Christian, I will talk. You send me to school PTA, I will talk. You know? I will talk no matter what. But again, you just can't talk for fun. You have to put bread on the table. So sometimes I would talk for little money. And I spoke once at a DepEd meeting somewhere in the north of Philippines, and they loved what I did. The whole day long for a sandwich and a drink. The next day for a toothbrush and toothpaste. I spoke. No, I did. One time, I had to replace a speaker. And, government and DepEd, it's kind of a snake pit out there. So the person who was inviting me, she said, Raju, would you come in and fill in the shoes of another speaker who was supposed to do English language skills? Grammar, pronunciation, enunciation, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't do that. I'm an Indian. I have a very thick tongue. Besides, last year, my tongue all dried up. So, I can do public speaking skills. I can do leadership. I can inspire. So she said, fine. Doesn't matter, So I went up to this audience of about 150 teachers and administrators. And it was a municipal barangay kind of a hall, and I came in at 8:30 because as a professional, I believe that if you're supposed to speak at 9, you must turn up at 8, Except for today, sorry. So, no, sorry, really, it's 90 minutes and we have to take lunch. She got really hungry. Government. I call her government, I like it. District government. So, 150 people in the room. And I went up on stage and I had my little PowerPoint to back me up and I began to do my work. All through, from 9 a.m. up until lunch, 90% of my audience was with me. As Toastmasters, teachers and speakers, connection and engagement and influence is what we do. So I was engaged and we were having fun. But there was this group of teachers up in this corner, just like this one over here, and they sat with their arms crossed and their chins raised, and heads turned towards the north. All through the morning, not only were they like that to me, in Tagalog, that's wrong grammar, I understand, but like that to me sila. Not only that, they were just bantering and talking and having a little private meeting amongst themselves. And 95% of my audience was working with me. Water before I dry up. Come lunchtime, I went up to this group. at the lunch break, I said, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Everything okay?" "Yes, okay." "Are you enjoying what is happening here?" "Kinda." "Is everything all right?" "No." Goes the guy in black with a big watch on his wrist. Just like that. He goes, "No. Everything's not all right." I said, "Well, what can I do?" Right? Because when you are the speaker, when you are the facilitator, you are in charge. You are the ringmaster. Yeah, you're responsible for everything, the happiness of your audience. So he says no, and I says, "Is it me? I'm Bombay, I realize I don't lend money, but is it me?" He said, "Maybe." Then all of them said, "Maybe." I said, "What is it?" And here they go. They go, "We came here to learn English. You're teaching us leadership, two different things, and we are not happy with it." And I go, "Hey, but didn't we announce that at 8:30 in the morning when I walked in? Instead of a lady, a guy walks in and he's not talking English, he's speaking Japanese about leadership. Didn't we know that?" She said, "We know that, but we are not against you, we are against the organizer." Great. Now, listen, you can't have a group where part of that group is not in sync with you. It just doesn't work. So I go up to the organizer and I said, "Can you please go talk to them?" Well, they sit down and talk. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever been in a situation like that, they were talking to each other for 2.5 hours. They couldn't come to an agreement. They couldn't come to a conclusion. No consensus, nothing. They were screaming and shouting at each other. And now in the meanwhile, what do I do? Where do I go? The other 90% of the audience slowly began to lose interest. Yeah, they were enjoying it. It was working for them. I stood by on a wall for 2.5 hours. No lunch, no water, no nothing. I just stood there quietly like that Indian statue that you see sometimes. I stood there for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours later, no conclusion. And I said, the ship of my speaking career is gonna sink, and no flotation device. No? So I gathered enough courage. I go up to them and I say, "Ladies and gentlemen, seems like this is not cooling down." And they go, "Yes, yes." And I go, "May I ask you a couple of questions?" They go, "Okay." I said, "It is true that you came here to learn English and not leadership?" "Yes." Answer is yes. Now I'm a little bit of a salesperson, so I get people to say yes very often. No? So they said yes to the first one because it was a nice question, right? The nice question was, you came here for English and you get leadership. Yes. Did you come in time? Yes. Did you pay money for this? Yes. I've got 3 yeses. You know, I get really confident now. Fourth question is, did you know that you won't get English, but now you get Japanese, realizing that the lady who was supposed to speak didn't turn up? They go, "Yes." I said, "Fine, I'm still on a good track. It's still a yes. Well, I'm no. No? Then my next question is, did you take time out of your life, from your work, from your home, from your social participation? Did you take this one day off and come here?" "Yes." "Sir, did you take one day off and come here to attend this?"
Yes.
"Very good, I like it, I love you too." No? Give him a round of applause, yes. So he goes, "Yes." Now, another question. Nobody's waiting for you, nothing else is happening from 9 to 5 today, nobody's dying on you. The answer was? Yes. Okay. I said, now, last question. This was the dangerous question. This was the $1 million question. From 9 a.m. to 12 noon, while I was up there talking to the rest of the people, your unconscious mind, one ear, while it was here, looking up, the other one, was it listening, participating, and enjoying and picking up something of value? They had no choice, just like you, very resistant. They go, yes. I said, in that case, may I behind the story. The story behind the story is super powerful. I don't know if super powerful is good or not, but whoa, man, it is magnificent. Jim Key is called on stage, and they ask him the question, Mr. Key, you came back 3 times. Are you okay? And Jim Key says, yes, I'm okay. What made you keep coming back every year after year after year? Well, I'm kind of stubborn, you know. Jim Key, how do you feel? I've been wanting this award for the longest time in my life. Oh, there's Jim Key. Then comes the clincher. Jim Key, why did you keep coming back? And Jim Key says, about 7 years ago, I was with my son, 7-year-old boy. I was at the Toastmasters convention and a contest. And I told my 7-year-old son that, son, one day your father will become the world champion of public speaking. And he said this to the audience of about 7,000 people, 6,000, no, 1,000, 1,200 people. 1,200 people there across the world. Jim Key tells this and he says, I promised my son that I will become the world champion of public speaking, and no matter how many times I was kicked out of stage, I couldn't break my promise to my little son. I couldn't create a world for him of hopelessness, of failure. I had to create a world for him where dreams can come true. And Jim Key cried. I still cry after 10 years. Everybody in the audience was crying. Every single speaker, Toastmaster teacher in the audience was crying. Now, the lesson there, really, if you want to achieve what you want to achieve, and if it lies there inside of you, if the beauty, the brilliance, the excellence that you seek that lies inside of you, it cannot just lie inside of you. It has to be planted in another soul, in another place, in another stone. That's when you strive harder to reach it. You have to take it out and you have to put it out there in somebody's heart, in somebody's mind, in somebody's soul, so you never ever give up. That's how you achieve not just excellence of self, but excellence in speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, across my heart, that's true. Have I made you sad? Okay, but yeah, those are my 3 lessons in public speaking and leadership. So you cannot just become a man who desires success, but a man who desires to create value first within himself, then for the rest of the world. Hallelujah, mabuhay, good evening, and God bless you all.